Hi, I'd like to have a look at this problem of the literature search. That is the search for existing knowledge. The whole purpose of the literature search is to avoid unnecessary expense. Now, conducting research is expensive. It's no more expensive than, say, software programming or almost any other endeavor, but it's not free. And this is the point. Probably one of the more frustrating things is to go and find out something and then you find it's already known. Whereas if you just look a little further, you find, well, okay, we already knew that. So the whole point of a literature search is to go and discover what is already known and what is important but not yet known, and what is preventing us finding out. Is it known? Is it not known simply because nobody's ever looked, or is it not known because there's some technique that's missing or some actual problem? Now, knowledge moves along all the time, so if there's some roadblock stopping us finding something out, then possibly by the time you have a look, some other essential piece of knowledge has been discovered that makes it all possible. But faced with the general directive of go find out what we already know, that's a very broad thing to do. And the problem is, how do you go about this? Well, this is one of the things that, after a while, as an academic, we just do this all the time, and we forget that we already know how to do this. What we do is we decompose the problem. Where you might think, well, I need to go and have a look at what we need to know about project management. Yes, but what is it about project management you need to know? So initially, when you're having a look at the literature search, it's useful to try and decompose the problem into manageable parts. And that sounds about as useful as any other piece of advice. What do you mean by that? Well, think in terms of the normal concerns about any one problem. How do we do it? What does it cost? What are the social aspects about this? How do we measure it? These are the usual concerns about any particular problem. And you can go and investigate what we already know about any or all of those, depending on what depth you want to go and investigate. And you have a look initially, and you find, oh, this looks interesting, I'll go down and have a look at that part. So they're the usual ways that we break it up in terms of technique, cost, social aspects, and measurement aspects. Now, the research itself tries to seek the truth, and that is, we're not saying everybody's lying. We're simply saying we're trying to discover things about the world and show that they hold under all circumstances, show that they are true. And so this is the pursuit of knowledge. Different research methods, to that end, you get these different research methods that suit different circumstances. And so in your literature search, you'll uncover something about the problem that really suits one or other of the research methods. Now, obviously, I'm very aware that frequently people have a particular research method that's their habit or their skill, and no matter what the problem is, they'll use that research method. Oh, okay, but that kind of biases the research a little bit. So, part of what you need to do in this literature search about the problem is to consider, all right, if you're going to try and find out that, what method will you use to go and find that out? If you already have a method or you're constrained in some fashion, then possibly that's not what you should be looking for. Possibly you should investigate something else. The literature search overall was described by Victor Solo as a journey from the known to the unknown. This probably describes the whole point about a literature search is not to just dump everything on the paper, everything that everybody knows about it on the paper. That's not useful for anybody. What we want to do is to go from what we already know about the problem to what we don't know and is preventing progress. No, it is that what we don't know and is preventing progress, that's what we're going to go and investigate. So we need to go through from what do we already know through to what do we not know, that if we did know, we'd be able to make some progress on this thing. Now, what we don't know, it could be a technique, it could be a fact, it could be perception of something, whatever it is, it's unknown. And the whole point about the research project toward the end of the literature review is to decide what it is that we don't know and that this research will investigate. Well, you could find out that there's half a dozen, 10 things that we don't know, and it's up to you to then choose which one you're going to investigate. So that also allows you to refine the research problem from this very general problem that you started with down to probably something much more specific. So in this, as part of your literature review, you should consider, has the problem evolved along with your understanding of it? I mean, as you learn more about it, the nature of the problem itself changes, and this is always true. I just ask anybody who's done a PhD. Now, given the knowledge gained through the literature review, has the problem changed, or is it able to be refined to be a more specific problem? That then, by the time you're able to answer that question, or those questions, that is, what do we not know? Has the problem changed, and how do we refine the problem? Are we now able to ask a very specific problem? By the time you've done that, you've probably reached the end of the literature review, and it's time to stop.